Zion Hamashiach. This is my son Willie. This is my son Elijah. I decided that we needed to make this video because there's a lot of things that are going on that a lot of people don't understand, such as why we went into slavery on ships, why we live in the hoods as a nation of people, why we getting shot down and the people that shoot us down are getting away with it. Why is there all these different things that are going on amongst us that are not going on amongst a lot of other people? I have a lot of the answers to those things, and I would like to share them. And if y'all believe in the Bible, and if y'all believe in God, then that's the best place for me to share these things from. So I'm going to start off reading from the Bible. And I'm going to show you some stuff that you may have heard before, maybe you haven't heard it before, but I'm going to break it down to where you can understand it the way that I understand it to some degree. So with that being said, I'm going to start off with reading from the Bible, reading the Old Testament. Well, we're going to get into that. But we're going to start off with Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 2. Now, in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verse 2, it says, "Ye shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall ye diminish aught from it, that ye may keep the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you. Your eyes have seen what the Lord did because of Baal Peor. For all the men that followed Baal Peor, the Lord thy God hath destroyed them from among you." So according to the Old Testament, Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 2, nothing is to be added to the Word of God. Nothing is to be taken away from the Word of God. Meaning, whatever it may be. If it's scriptures, don't take the scriptures away. If it's one page, if it's a dot, if it's whatever it could be, don't take it away. But whatever it could also be in those same ways, don't add it to it. Because we see what he did to Baal Peor. He destroyed them from among us for adding to the word, for taking away from the word. So now we're going to go to the New Testament. Revelations chapter 22, verse 18 and 19. And we're going to see what the New Testament says that the Old Testament just said. Revelation chapter 22. Revelation chapter 22, verse 18. "For I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book. If any man shall add unto these things, God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book." And if you remember back in Egypt when Moses was trying to let us go, look at all of what he did to the Pharaoh for not. He even hardened his heart to make sure he didn't. And if you want that added to you for adding to the word today, that's on you. Revelation chapter 22, verse 19. "And if any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, God shall take away his part of the book of life, and out of the holy city, and from the things which are written in this book. So all of the great things that are in this book, you best believe, according to the Old Testament and according to the New Testament, nothing should be added to this book and nothing should be taken away from this book. So with that being said, I'm using the Old Testament and I'm also using the New Testament. I'm also using the Apocrypha if needed. But the reason that I'm using the Old Testament and the New Testament is because the Old Testament and the New Testament say to use the Old Testament and the New Testament. Don't take nothing away from it. Don't add nothing to it. So I'm not going to do that. So now, the reason that I'm presenting this video with me and my sons is because we are who we are, and this Bible tells us exactly why we're dealing with the things that we're dealing with, that a lot of people may not understand, that, hey, we're dealing with these things because of this and because of this. And in order to get these things to stop, this is what we need to do. So with that being said, we're going to start this off with the books of Exodus chapter 3, verse 7. Because a lot of people may or may not understand. So we're going to use this Bible the way that the Bible say to use it. So if we go to Exodus chapter 3, verse 17, or no, Exodus chapter 3, verse 7, what we come up with is, and the Lord said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people, which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry, by reason of their taskmasters. For I know their sorrows, and I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of the land unto a good land, and a large, and a land flowing with milk and honey, unto the place of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites. Now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel has come unto me, and I have seen it. I have seen the oppression wherewith the Egyptians oppress them. Come now therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. Now, when the children of Israel was in Egypt, it was going down for them. It was really bad for them. And with it being so bad for them, the Most High heard their cry. He heard what they was going through. He said, I know y'all going through this. I see y'all going through that. I see what the Pharaoh's doing to y'all. But the only reason y'all in the situation that y'all in is for not hearing his voice and doing what he asked you to do. So, a little bit after we left Egypt, he told us a couple of things. He told Moses, he said, tell the children of Israel this. And this is one of the things that he told the children of Israel, is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 64. In Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 64, this is what he did to the children of Israel. Bring it out.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even to the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone.
Now, the Bible said that God was going to send the children of Israel. He was going to scatter them all throughout the earth. One of the reasons he was going to scatter them throughout the earth is because they worship other gods that are not him. And out of the other gods that are not him, they're going to be worshiping wood and stone. And if you look into the reality of the United States of America, the number one thing that us as a nation of people that we worship is the Nation of Islam and Christianity. No disrespect to either one, but the truth is the truth. And the truth is that the Nation of Islam, they have a stone that's inside a box in Mecca, and they go around that stone. They bow down to that stone. They kiss that stone. They pray to that stone. But out of our nation of people, black people, so-called black people, African Americans, whatever they call us, out of us as a nation of people, we occupy Islam more than anybody else, worshiping a stone. But not only that, how many people got this in your church? That's a wooden cross. But then, what about this one? Another wooden cross. How many times you go to church and see this? What about that? So now when it comes down to worshiping wood and stone, if you look at all the religions, and out of all the people that occupy the religions in the mass numbers that create the dollar amount that these religions create, if you look at Islam, our nation of people worships that rock more than any other people. Our nation of people, if you look at Christianity, no disrespect to nobody, so don't even try and take it that way. But if you look at Christianity, who worships more wood than Christians? Who bows down to that wood? Who prays to that wood? Who wears that wood around their neck? Got to hang it on their door when you come in their house. Pastor got to hang it in the church. Don't nobody worship that wood more than our nation of people. But at the same time, God said that the children of Israel is going to worship that wood and stone. But when they worship that wood and stone, they're not going to worship that wood and stone until they're sent out into other nations all throughout the four corners of the earth. And now, to be very, very, very specific, so there's no misunderstanding of how these people were spread throughout the earth, the children of Israel, according to the Bible, my other son is going to bring it out in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. Bring that out.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt, and again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies, for bondman and bondwoman, and no man shall buy you.
So now, this is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. Read it real slow and read it real loud, because I'm going to show y'all something real quick. I'm going to break this down. Bring that out.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again.
Hold on a second. Now, if y'all remember, the Israelites, the Jews, they were in Egypt in slavery. And when they were in slavery in Egypt, that's they didn't have to take a ship. They walked to Egypt. They walked back from Egypt, leaving slavery from Egypt. So now, this is what the Bible say about how they're going to go back into Egypt. How?
By the way whereof
How did they go into Egypt?
with ships.
Say it one more time.
With ships.
The children of Israel went into Egypt with ships. So now what we're going to do is we're going to break down what Egypt means, because the only people, when I think of ships, I think of us as a nation of people. So now, according to the Bible and according to dictionaries, Bible dictionaries, the word Egypt does not necessarily mean just a massive land. The word Egypt, I'm going to give you the definition of the word Egypt, and then I'm also going to tell you what the Bible says about the word Egypt. But right here is the definition of the word Egypt. As we draw near to putting Kemet on trial, I will slowly but surely dispel many of the myths that they arrogate to themselves and others. That being noted, let's talk about the Hebrew word for Egypt and define it Hebraically. The Hebrew word for Egypt is Mitzrayim, which is a masculine plural noun in Hebrew. It stems from a Hebraic root, which means to bind, shackle, or imprison, to be bound, or a boundary. And lastly, it means bondage, servitude, or slavery. Bondage, servitude, slavery, those pretty much are the same things. Bondage is slavery. Slavery is bondage. Now the servitude, that all depends on what the servitude amounts to. But now let's bring this out. The above descriptions align perfectly with the Bible's appellations and synonyms for ancient Egypt or Kemet within the Bible. Egypt, known in Hebrew is Mitzrayim, is synonymous with bondage and servitude, and in parentheses, slavery. There are at least 13 references in the Bible to Egypt as being the house of bondage. And this is learntorah.blogspot.com. This is what the definition of Egypt means. It means bondage. It means slavery. It means servitude. And this is according to the dictionary definition that I have found out pretty much everywhere. So now, what did the Bible just say? Bring it out from the top.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
Stop. Now, the Bible said, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. This is what he told the children of Israel. But the children of Israel did not have to go into Egypt with ships because they were in Israel, which is very close to Egypt, to where they walked out. So they didn't need ships. So now, according to the dictionary definition of the Bible that I just gave you about the word Egypt, bondage, slavery. So now, bring it out again.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
And the Lord shall bring thee into slavery, bondage, servitude again. How?
With ships.
How?
With ships.
Loud.
With ships.
Now, the only people that I know that went into slavery, servitude, or bondage on ships out of the entire earth was us as a nation of people. So now we're gonna finish this. Finish bringing it out. Start all over again from the top.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
And the Lord shall bring thee into slavery again with ships. Go ahead.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
Hold on. The Bible said that we will be sold for what?
Bondmen and bondwomen.
The slaves, these people that went into slavery on ships will be sold for bondmen. A bondman is a slave man. A bondwoman is a slave woman. And they're going to be what?
Sold unto their enemies.
They're going to be sold unto their enemies. The children of Israel are going to go into slavery on ships, and then they're going to be sold to their enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. Now go ahead. What does it say after that?
And no man shall buy you.
And no man shall buy you. If you look up the definition for the word buy, it doesn't mean also to just to make a purchase. It also means to redeem, especially if you go back to the Hebrew, the real Hebrew. The word buy means redeem. No man will redeem you. Now, look at history. We went into slavery on ships. We were sold to our enemies for slave men and slave women. Nat Turner tried to redeem us, couldn't redeem us. Look at how many people have tried to redeem us that could not redeem us. Look at Harriet Tubman. Look at the Underground Railroad. Look at the NAACP, Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Black Panther Party. All these different little things of whatever you want to call it. After we went into slavery on ships and was sold, no man has been able to redeem us. But why was no man able to be? Why were we not able to be redeemed? Deuteronomy 28:15. Deuteronomy 28:15, bro. Go ahead and get it. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15 is going to explain why this happened right here. And then we're going to go even deeper. Bring this out.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
Hearken means hear, to listen. If thou wilt not listen unto the voice of the Lord thy God, which it says hearken, the root word being hear. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15. Now go ahead.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee.
Okay, so now, he said, the Bible say that the children of Israel are going to go into slavery on ships. They're going to be sold to their enemies. And the reason that they're being sold to their enemies is because they went against the word of God. They did not hear. They did not listen to the commandments that he told them to listen to. And so, after he sent them into slavery on the ships, this is what he told them that also would happen to them. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 16. We was just at 15. Now we're going to go to the very next verse. Bring it out.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 16. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
Now, cursed shalt thou be where?
In the field and in the city.
Bring it out from the top.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 16. Cursed shalt thou be in the city.
Hold up. Cursed shalt thou be in the where?
City.
Now, cursed shalt thou be in the city. If you look in on any map, anywhere in the United States of America, I was going to use that. But if you look at New York, Chicago, LA, Florida, Texas, Ohio, if you look anywhere where the African Americans are, the indigenous Hispanics, and the indigenous Native Americans, if you look anywhere that we are in the worst conditions possible that you could come up with. If you go to the city of Los Angeles, the worst neighborhood that you're going to find is a black neighborhood. If you go to Chicago, a black neighborhood. If you go to New York, a black neighborhood. If you go to, say, Columbus, Ohio, worst neighborhood you're going to find in Columbus, Ohio is a black neighborhood. You can go to Cleveland, Ohio. Worst neighborhood you're going to find is in Cleveland, Ohio is a black neighborhood. Toledo. Go to Toledo, Ohio. Worst neighborhood you're going to find in Toledo, Ohio is a black neighborhood. Go to St. Louis. You can go to the smallest city. Where's the worst neighborhood in that city? Where's the neighborhood where if I walk from that block to that block where you might get robbed, you might get stabbed, you might get shot, you might just get killed just because whoever you walk into the store with, all you want is a bag of chips, maybe a bottle of water. That's all you only got $2 in your pocket. All you're going to do is spend them $2. But you can't make it to the store and back without possibly dying. Cursed shalt thou be in the city. Bring it out from the top.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 16. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
Now, cursed shalt thou be in the city. We curse in every city. Cursed shalt thou be in the field. Once we got off of them slave ships, we was in the cotton fields, the corn fields, the tobacco fields, the sugarcane fields, the orange fields, the apple tree fields, the grape vineyards to make their wine and they different little alcoholic beverages, the cabbage field, the corn field. Name a field that we was not cursed in. It's you can look outside your door and see that we cursed in the city as a nation of people. As a nation of people, was we not cursing every field that you can imagine? Who was cursing any field more than us? What a coincidence, huh? So now, with us being cursed, or the Bible's talking about the children of Israel. So now, let's go ahead and get Galatians chapter 3, verse 13. Because a lot of people don't understand that we've went through some stuff that I don't know anybody else that's been through what we've been through, the way we've been through it, how we've been through it, period.
Galatians what?
Chapter 3, verse 13. That's in the New Testament. But I don't know nobody else that can 3.
From there.
13. Bring it out.
Galatians chapter 3, verse 13. Christ hath redeemed us from the curse of the law, being made a curse for us. For it is written, Cursed is everyone that hangeth on a tree.
Cursed is who?
Everyone that hangeth on a tree.
Cursed is who?
Everyone that hangeth on a tree.
Hold on. The Bible say everyone that hangeth on a tree is cursed. Now, bring it out from the top, because if you bring it out from the top, it also say that Christ was cursed. Bring it out from the top.
Galatians chapter 3, verse 13. Christ hath redeemed us from the curse of the law, being made a curse for us. For it is written, Cursed is everyone that hangeth on a tree.
Now, Christ hath redeemed us from the law. For it is written, Cursed is everyone that hangeth on a tree. As a nation of people, I don't know anybody else that hang from trees the way that we hung from trees. I can't think of no Chinese people, no Japanese, no East Indians, no Russians, Ireland's, what do they call them? Irish. I haven't seen no other nation of people hang from trees the way that we hung from trees. And we wasn't just hanging from trees. Now, if you do the mathematics, we was hanging from trees in public, and we was like really hanging. They was bringing their kids to watch us hang from trees and sit there and do nothing but hang from a tree. This is what our people did as a nation of people. And this is what the Bible says that the children of Israel was going to do, that they was going to hang from a tree. And they was going to hang from trees as a curse. But now, this is another thing that a lot of people try to get mixed up and, you know, switch it however they want to do it and say this and that. But at the same time, another black man that was hung from a tree, unarmed, didn't do nothing but tell you the truth. And when he did that, they hung him from a tree. Let's bring that out. Acts chapter 5, verse 29. So now, when we go into Acts, we're going to see what Acts say. Because Christ said in Galatians 3 and 13 that it was written for us that we cursed. Cursed are those that hung from a tree. Go ahead, bring that out.
Acts chapter 5, verse 29. Then Peter and the other apostles answered and said, "We ought to obey God rather than men."
That's 29. Go ahead.
Acts chapter 5, verse 30. The God of our fathers raised up Jesus, whom ye slew and hanged on a tree. Him.
Hold on a second. They said, what did 30 say again? Acts chapter 5, verse 30. Say that again.
Acts chapter 5, verse 30. The God of our fathers raised up Jesus, whom ye slew and hanged on a tree.
Raised up who?
Raised up and hanged on a tree.
Raised up who?
Lord and
Read it.
raised up Jesus, whom hanged on a tree.
They raised up Jesus, who a lot of people may not know his name, but the Son of God. They hanged him from a tree. They slew him and hanged him from a tree. They killed him, hanging him from a tree. Read that again. Bring it out. Acts chapter 5, verse 30.
Acts chapter 5, verse 30. The God of our fathers raised up Jesus, whom ye slew and hanged on a tree.
Whom ye slew and hanged on a tree. So, why we the only people that I can think of that hang from a tree? The Son of God is one of the other people, only other people in history that I can think of that hang from a tree. And it just so happens to be that he was killed by Romans. White people. They hung him from a tree. We've been getting killed back to back by white people. They hung us from trees. Is that a coincidence that God said that this is going to happen to the children of Israel? So now, a lot of people say they don't know the color of Christ, the Son of God. They say that they don't know this and they don't know that. So let's get Revelation chapter 1, verse 13. And you get Genesis chapter 15, verse 17. And we're going to see what color Christ was, because it is documented, and it is very well documented to where you can't say he was this or he was that. He definitely was not this guy right here, Caesar Borgia, the son of Pope John VI. It wasn't that guy. That's not the Son of God. That's a white man that, a gay white man that was Pope John VI's son. His name is Caesar Borgia, Cesarborgia. If you look that man up, you'll see that that's who that is, and that's who the image of the Son of God is that they gave you. You got it?
What chapter?
Revelation chapter 1, verse 13.
Revelations chapter 1 verse 13. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the
Go ahead.
one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle.
That's what he was wearing. Keep going.
His head and his hair were white like wool.
His head and his hairs were what?
White like wool.
White like wool. Okay, so now he had white, woolly hair, the texture of hair, like my son to the right side of me, the texture of his hair. My son to the left side of me doesn't really have woolly hair. So now, go ahead.
As white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire,
Keep going.
and his feet like unto fine brass.
Now, his feet like unto fine brass. Now, if you want to bring out fine brass, now, the color of this penny is about the color of fine brass. Now, I'm going to take this fine brass, I'm going to put it on my skin, and we're going to see what's the difference of my skin and this fine brass. Other than this is the metal and this is my skin and this is extra shiny and this and that. But now, we all know that brass is a derivative of brown. But now, we're going to see how brown. Keep going.
As if they burned in a furnace.
As if what?
They burned in a furnace.
His feet were the color of brass. Same color as this penny. As if they burned in a furnace. Now, anything that you could think of putting in a furnace, I don't care if it's white. Take something white. Take a piece of paper. Go in your basement and put it in the furnace. When it's done burning, take it out of the furnace. It's black. But now, just to get something to go with that and to make sure that it was as black as it just said that it was, we're going to see what Genesis chapter 15 verse 17 has to say about that. Go ahead and bring that out.
Genesis chapter 15, verse 17.
15. Verse 17, bring it out.
And it came to pass that when the sun went down and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace, and a burning
what?
lamp, smoking furnace.
A smoking furnace. A what furnace?
Smoking furnace.
A smoking furnace. Keep going.
A smoking furnace and a burning lamp that passed between those pieces.
Now, right now, if your furnace starts smoking, get your kids out the house, your family out the house, call them, let the neighbors, let them know that your furnace is smoking, your house about to blow up. But now, back in the day, that furnace, if it didn't smoke, you wasn't going to eat. You wasn't going to be warm. You wasn't going to get no water, drinking water or bathing water, depending on if the water was good enough to drink straight out of whatever you was getting it from. So now, a furnace back then, it better have been smoking. And whatever you put in the furnace is going to give you a black smoke. So if you take this brass, you put it in a furnace. When you pull it out the furnace, with that white woolly hair, it's going to look a little bit something like that. That right there is more of what the Son of God would look like, according to the description of him in the Bible. Which this right here, he wasn't black. That's the color of a crayon. But he was very, 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 very dark skinned, brown man with white woolly hair. I ain't seen no men that look like that other than black men. Look at your grandpa, your uncle, your cousin, even some of us. At our age, how many of us is very, 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 very dark skin complected brown with white woolly hair? You mean to tell me that that's what this looks like? You can't tell me that. The Son of God was a black man that got killed by white people. The Bible tells you that. So the history. He was killed by Romans. But now, let's go and check out a couple of other things that the Bible said. Let's get Zechariah chapter 11, verse 5. Because there's a lot of stuff that's going on. People just don't understand it. We went into slavery on ships. We was hung from trees, cursed in the fields, cursed everywhere, cursed in the city. No matter what city we were scattered to, like Deuteronomy 28:64 said. Chapter 11, verse 5. It's right here. Bring it out.
Zechariah chapter.
Now this right here is another thing that God said is going to happen to the children of Israel. Now bring this one out loud and slow, because bring it out.
Zechariah chapter 11, verse 5. Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty.
Hold up. Now, the Bible said, whose possessors slay them. Slay means to kill, and hold themselves not guilty. I don't know any other people on the face of this earth that have went into slavery on slave ships, that live in the worst conditions in whatever city you could think of, that was cursed in whatever field you can think of. Those same people, according to the Bible, are getting killed. And the people that are killing them are being found not guilty. Read that again. This is the book of Zechariah, chapter 11, verse 5. Read that. Bring that out.
Zechariah chapter 11, verse 5. Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty.
Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. Now, you can't tell me that we are not in the possession of other people. They tell you that slavery was free when they say slavery was free. Whatever. But at the same time, though, if I go steal 1,000 dogs from down the street, put them 1,000 dogs in my backyard, tie them all up, chain them all up, I'm beating them, wearing them down. Now, after a period of time, I say, you know what? I'm going to cut the chain off of y'all neck. I'm not going to beat you as much as I was beating you. I'm not going to kill you as much as I was killing you. I'm not going to do all these things to you as much. Not only that, I'm going to cut the chain off your neck. I'm going to tell you that you're free, but you can't leave the yard. Not only can you not leave the yard, you can't do anything that you want to do. I'm not going to take you back to the place that I stole you from. I'm going to tell you when you got to go to work. I'm going to tell you when you got to come home. I'm going to tell you how much money you got to make. Not only that, I'm going to tell you that you can't change your name back to the name that it was, whatever it was, if you can even remember it. Not only that, I'm going to tell you it's illegal for you to not work. So therefore, since I'm going to tell you that it's illegal for you to not work, you got to get a job. But the people that's giving you a job don't want to pay you. That's where tipping people, waitressing, that's where that job came from. You got to have a job, but ain't nobody going to pay you. So we're going to qualify tips as your job. So you're going to make a penny a week. And if you don't take that job, you're going to jail. So you can't tell me that we're still not in the possession of other people. We are slaves that were set free. That was never taken back to where we came from. That was never given anything for what we've done. We live according to whatever they say. We still got the names that they gave us. We got to go to work when they say go to work. We got to teach our children whatever they say teach our children. When we go to church, according to the 501c3, even at church, you have to teach the congregation of your church what the government says to teach you. So now bring that out again.
Zechariah chapter 11, verse 5.
Zechariah chapter 11, verse 5. Go ahead.
Whose possessor slays them and hold themselves not guilty.
They slay us and they hold us, and they hold themselves not guilty. This is what God said is going to happen to the children of Israel. So now, I'm going to show y'all something else that God said was going to happen to the children of Israel. And this happened approximately about 2,500 to maybe 600 years ago. Bring out Acts chapter 13, verse 1. This is one verse right here. This is a crazy verse right here. And this is one verse that every pastor should be telling everybody about. But the pastors ain't telling nobody. The School of Theology ain't going to tell you.
What chapter?
Acts chapter 13, verse 1. No history teachers is going to tell you. According to history in America, before 400 years ago, what the hell was we? Because they ain't going to tell you nothing past 400 years ago. They're not going to tell you what we were. They're only going to say, 400 years ago, you went into slavery. Still here. And this is this, and this. But now, this is one thing that your pastor ain't going to tell you that he should have been told you. Let's bring that out. This is Acts chapter 13, verse 1. Go ahead, bring it out.
Acts chapter 13, verse 1. Now there were in the church that was a Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas and Simeon, that was called Niger, and Lucius,